In addition to roots, of course, one of the main things that's gathered from plants for food are the seeds and the fruits that contain the seeds. This is just the case in nature that that babies provide the bulk of the food material, and it's certainly the case with the plants as well, with their seeds, with their fruits, the birds and the people and all the animals. We all enjoy eating them. One of the first plant families to go to seed in the summer are the mustards, and right now I'm going to show you a mustard plant that has gone to seed, which is this one. I don't know all the names for all the different mustards out here, but you know, that's part of my ongoing learning. But this is definitely a mustard. When you see seed pods like this, that's a mustard plant. I'll show you some pennycress probably today too. That's another mustard plant, and the seed pods are a little bit different. But once you get to kind of recognize the different seed pods that mustard plants put out, then it's no fail. You can run into, because there's hundreds of members of the species, you can run into any member of the species and know that it's a mustard and that it's safe to eat. All the mustards are good to go. Some of them taste better than others. This one right here has a very spicy taste. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to harvest the seed pods, and it's very easy to do. Here, I just set this up here. I'll just pull the plant itself right out of the ground, because, you know, having already gone to seed, this plant is done. It's not going to come back again. So, and then I can take the stem, just come to the bottom of the seeds on the stem, and just kind of pull my hand up, and that gets me a good packet of seed pods. Now, some of the mustards, the pods themselves are worth eating. It's kind of like with peas. You know, you can have the sugar pod peas, and some of the pods are nice and tasty too. Other ones you want to discard the pods. This one in particular, I mean, of course you can eat the pod in the field. It's not going to hurt you to eat the pod, but it's very fibrous. And what I think is better is to just take these pods, throw them into a paper sack, let them dry and pop. And when they pop, they get these nice orange seeds. Yeah, they're not even, a lot of them here I'm looking at are not even, the seeds aren't even orange yet, but they will continue to develop in the pod like this if you put them in a brown paper bag. Put them in a brown paper bag, wait for them to pop on their own, spit out the seeds. You can discard the husks and just take the seeds. And those seeds you can use as a nice, sharp, mustardy spice on anything you want. It's good stuff. I'm going to quickly gather like a pocket full of these while I'm here on this slope, and then continue the journey through the garden today. Okay, I finally came across an example of moss, which is the prairie turnip or Indian breadroot, that I think is big enough that it should have a nice little potato on there. Of course, I've seen plants way bigger than this too, but this is the biggest one so far I've seen today. It is right next to this blanket flower, and I might end up disrupting the blanket flower. If I do, I'll collect that root as well, because I can use the blanket flower root when I'm having stomach problems. You make it into a tea, and you drink the tea of the blanket flower root for stomach issues. But yeah, what I want to get at is the root of this. It has a long, skinny root coming down, and then it'll have a potato, and then it'll have a skinny taproot coming off of that. And what I want to try to do is get the potato, but leave the lower skinny taproot in there. Sometimes I don't succeed at that, and I have to just cut it off with my knife and drop it back in there, in the hopes that it'll regrow. But yeah, this was really the staple source of calories. One of these staple sources of calories in the past. It's a very starchy root, and really kind of no sharp taste to it at all. It's just a very bland, starchy, potato-like root. So anyway, I'll dig it out. I'll show you what that's about, and maybe I'll film digging it out, because it's quite a process. You know, you really got to once you've done this a couple of times, I really start having a lot of respect for the women of the past who used to do this work, because it's not easy stuff. Let's see if I can find a stable spot, or maybe I just gotta adjust the angle of the tripod here. There we go. All right, are we in the camera? The spot where I'm gonna be digging. All right, here's where I'm gonna be digging, and maybe I'll just back it up a little bit so that you get a better shot of the whole thing. All right, here we go. Moss. Now what I try to do first is kind of dig around the plant. So I can get a sense of where its root is. One of the things about this plant is that if you wait too long, like in the fall, a lot of root plants you can dig in the fall. You know, they're still good. All the onions and the wild carrots and stuff, all those things you can still access in the fall. You don't necessarily have to get them right when they're showy like this. But in the case of the breadroot or the moss, if you don't get it right away now, in the fall you won't be able to, because what happens is the stem above ground dries out and turns into a tumbleweed, breaks off from the root stalk and tumbles away, and you won't be able to find the root even if you find the old stalks after a certain point. Oh, this is a decent one. It's not huge, but it's decent. I'm using the metal crowbar. Imagine doing this with wood. It's very helpful right now that we've been having some moisture, so it makes it a lot easier to dig. I still gather these through the summer, and after the ground dries out after these rains, this whole process becomes pretty difficult. Alright, I'm right to where I want to be. I'm going to show you this. Alright, there is the potato, the root. This one didn't have too long a stem. Some of them have a little bit longer rootstock stem coming down. I like to get to this point where I can reach the taproot down here, and at this point I use my knife and I cut the taproot off. I try to not wiggle it too much so it's in the ground, and so hopefully another plant will grow out of it. So I'm just gonna do that really quick. Go. Now I will backfill that hole too, but here's your prairie turnip, your mott's, and of course you cut the top of the plant off too. You don't need that. And I'm going to show you basically you can peel this thing. In fact, you're going to want to peel it before you eat it. This is a plant, this is a root that can be eaten raw, but is definitely one that people would have stored away as well. And the best way I've found to store this root is to chop it up into coins and dry it that way. That way it's easier to rehydrate. You can store it, dry it just like this, or you can dry it even with that peel on, but then of course it makes the peel much more difficult to take off. But yeah, I like to get it to this state, and then chop it into coins. It's just a really nice starchy bland, but lots of calories root. One of the primary food sources in the past that today has been forgotten by a lot of people. In fact, today this root is being confused by some people for a particular ceremonial root. But this is food. This is just plain old moss, and you can use it just like a potato, like a vegetable, pot vegetable. You can also take it, dry it like this, and then use a grater, grate it down, and use that powder to thicken stews, and you know, basically you can make like a mashed potato kind of a thing. It's all good stuff. So this is a key food resource out here of the past. Women would have dug up for each family hundreds of these per year. Yeah, I just noticed up here on the hill, I don't know if I can find it in this viewfinder. There he is. It's a coyote. He's just peeking over the hill, watching me. He's keeping an eye on me, what I'm doing. I don't know how long he's been watching me, but there he is. He's gone really strategically, just far enough over the hill so that only his head is showing. Pretty cool. Yeah, I was planning to go along this other slope on the way back because like this slope that I've been on is a south-facing slope, so it gets a lot of sun as compared to this other slope. And presumably there'd be a little bit of different plant assemblage on the other slope. However, because I have Coyote peeking over the hill at me, if I go on the other slope, it's going to scare her off. And really, I would rather kind of maintain the connection, let her see what I'm doing, let her see a human being doing human things out here, and watch me and get what she can get out of it. And I'm going to watch her as well. And I know that she's seen me every time I've really looked closely at her. Then, you know, she's turned around to go hide a little bit, and then she comes back out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go along the bottom of this coulee area. Not the very bottom, but close, and let's see what's happening in the more brushy areas. I can see already it looks like we got some yellow warblers probably nested down here. Let's see if I can find him in this that looks like a, oh no, that might be a golden finch. I can't tell from here, but it looks like it's got some black on it. This is probably a golden finch. But anyway, I'm going to look at what the plant assemblage is along the bottom. One thing I should point out right now, here is some skunk brush. There's skunk brush that grows all along on the coulee slope. So you can see up here, you can see these are patches, all these little freckles here along the coulee slopes. Those are patches of skunk brush sumac, and it puts out a very high vitamin C berry, which are these. They get a lot of citric acid on them, and they get nice and sticky. When they get red, redder than this, but I'm going to pick this one and eat it anyway. It's already, wow, it's already really packed with citrus. But I'm going to wait for them to get even more red, even more citrusy. And those are good. Not only do they taste good, if you like that citrusy taste, kind of like Sour Patch Kids taste, just to eat. But then you can also put them into water and basically make a lemonade out of it. And it's really good stuff. So, here, these skunk brush are not ready yet. There are other places in southern Alberta that I've run into already. Where were we at? We were at along Milk River the other day, where it's quite a bit hotter, and already there, a lot of the skunk brush, or some of them at least, have got the red berries. And so we'll be keeping an eye out for when that shifts over here, because definitely want to get some of those red berries and put them to use both as snacks and as tea. Another thing I wanted to say was, like, say for instance here I got a pretty big example of moss. I'm not going to dig it, and the reason is, and you know, here too I've got another pretty good plant right here. Not going to dig those right up. Basically, I practice a harvesting ethics, and that is that I leave a lot of plants be, especially if they're younger plants and they need to mature, but also, you know, even older ones. There's so much out here that I don't need to be picking clean in a particular area. I can wander around and pick every 6th, 7th, 8th plant that I see, and I'm still gonna get lots and lots of food. And that way, I think, you know, maintaining a a nice seed base out here. Also, you know, if I see a really good plant, like it looks like it's going to have a football-sized root on it, I'm not going to pick it, because I want that plant to seed out and I want it to create more. Like a good hunter, even with plants, you should cull the ones that aren't so good, and those ones you should eat. And the ones that look like they'll be the best, you should leave to reseed, and that way over time you're grooming a a better plant community. And you can bet, even right now, walking through here, what I'm enjoying has been groomed by thousands of years of selection by the ancestors. This is not, you know, a new fresh landscape out here. This is a landscape that has been for thousands and thousands of years, has been very selectively managed. So practice and ethics if you're out here harvesting, and don't take everything and don't take the best of it.